And as always, it is a pleasure having you with us again.
Oh my god, it's John Wick. What are you trying to do? Kill me?
Yeah.
Hey, stop pointing that gun at me.
No.
I'm thinking I'm back.
I want you to find your peace. But a good death only comes after a good life. You and I left a good life behind a long time ago, my friend. Let's go together.
And today we finally have John Wick Chapter 4. It's funny because normally franchises, as they go on and on, they tend to diminish in quality, not feel the same and all that, but here's the thing, and none of my friends agree with me on this, but if you're ready, this is the MovieMan hot take when it comes to John Wick. I believe that John Wick, each movie, is the best one. By that I mean each one is better than its predecessors. The series, in my opinion, improves each time and is better and better and better. Not to say that means that, 4 chapters in, here we are, John Wick Chapter 1 is Garbo. Like, no, by all means, not at all what I mean to say. I just mean everybody loves the first one, and as each one goes on, they do what a franchise and what sequels, in my opinion, are supposed to do. And I've made the point very clear when it comes to everything from Godfather to Blade Runner to what I hope to be Dune or like Die Hard 2 or Aliens. A good sequel is supposed to build off of the foundation that your first film has set. Keep the core of what the film and what the narrative in the series is, and you build upon that. You build upon and expand, delve more into the character. You build upon the world, upon the lore. You try to then make it better, more interesting, more creative, maybe visually better, maybe the action is better, maybe the characters are more interesting. You just keep on building and expanding, and yet still keeping the cohesion and the core of what the series is. And I think the John Wick franchise has done that in a fantastic sense, like to the best degree. And that's in no small part due to its director, Chad Stahelski, who this guy is literally, his filmography, directing-wise, his filmography is literally just the John Wick movies. What I really love about this guy and respect and can see exactly how it goes into the filmmaking process is that for years he's been a stunt choreographer, stunt coordinator, has experience in that realm with film and all that. So obviously he's applied that to the John Wick films. Plus he has some future projects coming up, including what's going to be the live-action adaptation of the game Ghost of Tsushima. It's a video game that's excellent, and they're going to make a film out of it. Of course, obviously you have the man, the myth, the legend, the main star. Everybody loves him. You never hear a sore word about him. Keanu Reeves. I don't even need to get into his filmography. I may not have reviewed any of the previous John Wicks on my channel. You know the name. Household name. As usual, he reprises his role as John Wick, the Baba Yaga. Definitely worth mentioning though, one of the other big stars in this film, arguably, I would even go as far as to say the secondary protagonist in this film, played by Donnie Yen, who is he's great. He's amazing. We got the IP man here, or the IP man. I don't know how. I never really looked into how people officially said it. You want to talk about fighting in film and choreography and just stunt work, and but I loved his character in it. My friends believe that he stole the show. Also worth mentioning because I love him, but the main villain in this film is played by Bill Skarsgård, and I tell you what, when it comes to the Skarsgårds, I love them all. I love all the Skarsgårds. This is a little sidebar. The outfits this man wears in this film, oh my god, I don't go for sequins. Like, I wouldn't see myself as somebody who would be like covered in sequins or whatever, but there's every suit, every ensemble piece he has in this film, he rocks, and I would be honored to wear any of those wardrobes. I was actually really looking forward to this review. In case you couldn't tell by the title or by my, I don't know if there's a level of palpable excitement here or there, I loved this. This was amazing. I had so much fun. I can't remember the last time that I was just bouncing in my seat, my legs kicking and all of this with joy as this film was going on. Sober, by the way. This film is so much fun. It's so good, so exciting. Felt like a kid in a candy store, honestly. This had everything that I would want in like my action flick, everything and more that I would want from a John Wick film. I'm not gonna spoil too much of anything. I'm gonna try not to, but I will say, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about here. But any film that can evoke Hotline Miami, and again, if you know the game, if you don't, look it up. If you know the game and you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because everybody who's a big nerd like me who watched this film and saw a particular scene was like, holy shit, it's Hotline Miami right there. It was great. It was borderline magical, and it was executed so wonderfully. It was so much fun, looked so good. I was so impressed. Another sidebar, I'm pretty sure, now correct me if I'm wrong, feel free to cite another source, but there's one scene, I doubt I can find it online, so I'll kind of give you an image of where this scene takes place. It's from the trailers, so no spoilers, but Keanu reloads his gun so fast. It might be the fastest on-screen pistol magazine reload I've ever seen in my entire life. It was basically on a pistol, right? You have the side release, which basically you chunk it and boom, it's gonna come out, which is easy enough. But what he does, and let me remove it just for safety. What he does is like, and it's a tactical reload in general, but like if the clip is spent and you're not gonna try to salvage what's left in it, it's faster to hold the button, and his gravity takes the clip, chuck it off to the side, which he does a lot. So he'll do a click, you'll see him do like that, do it and quick like that, which is already impressive in itself if you pull it off in a speedy manner. But he did at one point. It took maybe a second. It was a motion that was like it was insanely fast. There were several moments in this film where out loud I was like a guttural reaction. I was just like, God damn! Like, there are so many impressive moments in this film from like a technological standpoint, from a, oh my God, that was crazy, that was painful, anything like that. Where I don't mean to just like buy into the hype and say what everybody else is already saying. I'm sure there's nothing new I can add to the conversation, but I will say that just in my opinion, each one has been the best one. Each one just gets better and better and better, and this one's no exception. Chapter 4 is my favorite now. And I went back and rewatched the first 3 before this. I had a little mini marathon. It's this wonderful balancing act that the film does well. It's the longest for starters. Funny enough, the OG cut, from what I heard, the like director's cut, was like 3 hours and 45 minutes. They cut it down to just below 3. And what's funny is, one of my friends pointed this out, all these kind of make up just one story, like one movie, like the movie, the story, the long-ass movie of John Wick, because all this takes place over the course of, what is it, like 2 weeks or something like that? The stakes just get higher and higher and higher, to now we're at this point where he's just full-on at war with the High Table. These guilds of assassins together, basically, like assassins and contractors, and all this High Table stuff, and these people and places that have been slowly built up over the course of each film. And the funny thing is, all this started with just someone killed his dog, and then you go from there to get vengeance for his lost pup. He's then dragged back into this world, and the actions he then takes have just dominoed, and just the bodies pile up and the dominoes keep falling to a point where like he's just basically trying to kill his way out to solve his problem. And what I love is this film addresses that. Several times in this film, people, either enemies or close confidants, are literally asking him like, where does this end? Even us at home, like, we all love John Wick, but we're just like, how many people will you kill? Like, how far are you going to take this? What happens when you do kill the person you want? They'll just replace them. There's always somebody else. There's always going to be more to this. So where does it stop, John? The marketing and the trailers for this, by the way, perfection. Exactly what I want from marketing. I think there were maybe 2 trailers and probably a TV spot or 2, but again, they are able to give you a taste of the film and showcase what to expect without spoiling the main narrative, and especially other big scenes in the film. There were plenty of big scenes and big moments that could have pulled a Shazam 2 and just shown you all the big stuff via the trailers, but no, this literally does what I want it to do. Is you show me an idea of what the narrative is going to be like, some of the characters returning and new they're going to be in this, show us little peeks at some of the action-packed moments, and then save everything else for the film. I mean, how many other positives can I throw in here? The cinematography, as each film goes on, they get more and more involved with their colors and saturation of colors. Distinct directing style has kind of evolved over the course of these films, because the first one starts off, and aside from the nightclub scene and little bits here and there, the color palettes are kind of muted and like gray, and it just has a certain like aesthetic to it. And as the films go on, it becomes more almost like there's like little neon phases, there's more colorful bits, visually they're always trying to up the ante, and this film is definitely no exception. New characters thrown at you, probably the most new characters in any of the John Wick films so far are then thrown into this as well, but it never felt like too much. If anything, even with all these characters being thrown in, they're all developed just enough where the only complaint I have is that I want more. I want you to marinate them more, if that makes any sense. I want you to flesh them out even more. I want you to put them in the film more. But as it was, every single new character was interesting to me, very interesting, or cool, or had their own contribution in the narrative, and just it all worked. Oh, and the duels, oh my god. You always have John going through and cutting down people in a general sense of like, oh, here's some random thugs, boom, 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 take him out. But then all the bigger characters, the little mini bosses or final bosses or whatever, but there's always little mini bosses. I love how there's actually like power dynamic struggles. John doesn't just plow through people with the greatest of ease all the time. Sometimes he hits these roadblocks of actually skilled opponents, and these really, really kick-ass, creative, fun, violent duels ensue. Choreographed well, the creativity's great. Some of the people that he's fighting have even tried to catch wise to his acts. They're trying to block certain attacks, and he's having to like feint a certain attack to instead go for a lower attack or whatever. It's great. It makes the combat engaging and fun, and not just a bunch of rolls and same move sets over and over. And the soundtrack, oh my... Look, I think we all recognize by now the John Wick theme, like his theme, which each movie has played at least once, I believe. It's okay. I'm not a big fan of his theme. It's fine. But the music that's been used in these films more and more, and especially this one, and some of the nightclubs and during a lot of the encounters and all that. But I'm a sucker for like EDM and like electronic music. That's maybe it was the theater I was in, maybe it's because they had the volume cranked all the way, like the knob was busted, bopping along, just he's going around killing, shooting, beating people up. There's an awesome club scene where he's pursuing some guys and he's getting beat up, and everybody's still just dancing in the background while hatchets are being thrown at people. Not gonna lie, I'd love to go to like a downtown New York underground club like this, get fucked up, and then be jamming out to these beats while I'm watching Keanu just like literally slay in the background. Anyway, if you let me talk too much about this, I'll just keep going and going and going. The only cons that I had in this film, like I said, I want more from the characters that are already there. A couple of my friends that I went with thought there were definitely some more imperfections than I did. They had some complaints about a character or two and narrative significance. I disagree but also agree. I thought everybody that was involved was either developed very well or developed just enough to serve the purpose of the narrative and forward along Wick's story and all that. Would I love to have seen all the characters get the same awesome, equally fleshed out, involved treatment? Yes. I don't think it heavily detracts, but it's something where I can admit, like, okay, I would like to have seen more of that. And the only other complaint that I think I had, like, Bill Skarsgård isn't French, and in this film he plays a French villain, and it's not a bad accent, but all of us were just like, you can kind of tell that, like, he's someone who's not French doing a French accent. Again, not egregious, it just shows a little bit, and that's fine. But that's it. Just a couple very minor gripes. I'm surprised that I'm so in favor of and biased towards this franchise, and for this one I'd say, even though it was delayed a couple times, I think by a year at one point, worth the wait. But I'll leave it at this. John Wick Chapter 4 is my favorite one so far, hands down. It's not perfection. It's amazing. I loved it. I had so much fun. Couple little bits of gripe here and there that I had to factor in, as I mentioned, but even still, I would give John Wick Chapter 4 easily a low 5 out of 5. a low 5 out of 5. It is one of my favorite films so far this year. I love it. I would love to see it again. I was lucky. I got to see it in IMAX in a premium format with the volume turned up almost too much. Fantastic viewing experience that I cannot recommend enough. If you like the other John Wicks, if you similar taste in film that I do, I loved it. I had such a good time. It's films like these that give me pause in my suicidal ideations and massive death drive, and actually just sit there. I'm like, maybe this is all I need. Maybe this is all I need, and I'm just jamming out and just watching the film and getting into it, having fun while all this is going down. It's just so fucking fun. I think it's a very, very appropriate, fitting, bittersweet, satisfying ending. If they choose to do more or continue with all these spin-offs, I also support it. It's a good move. They have some plans, I believe, already for shows and for a movie or two, but I gotta cut myself off. That's all I gotta say about John Wick Chapter 4. Thank you guys and gals so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode of whatever movie I review. And I'm thinking I'm out.